Hello, welcome to DeKalb Talks Tourism. Today, we're excited to have two people with us in studio. We have Chef Simone and we have Adeola.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Adeola, who are with Navigate Foundation. So, Chef, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into really what you're here for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. Such a pleasure to be here to speak about Navigate and our background. Been in DeKalb County now for 34 years with my family. All of us went to DeKalb County schools. My brothers graduated from Tucker. I went to Smoke Rise and also to Henderson Mill. Then my son is at Tucker High School now as a junior. So, big DeKalb County family. I went to Art Institute after high school, and then I went to work at Disney with ESPN and ESPN Zone a long time.
Wow.
I had to be in Atlanta a long time to know about ESPN Zone, but went there with a chef named Brian Wickham. And I left ESPN Zone, graduated from Art Institute, and went and started working with Compass Group, which is the world's largest food service company. They do the food service for Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Coca-Cola headquarters, several colleges and universities in the area. After working with Compass Group, I left and went back and got my teaching degree, and then started as a culinary arts teacher at Meadow Creek High School in Gwinnett, and started the nonprofit there, Navigate. Basically, as a culinary arts teacher, saw the divide in what students were getting in the classroom and what they needed to be productive post graduation. So I was able to reach back out to Compass and Thompson Hospitality, which is our minority partner. It's the largest minority-owned food service company nationally. And we were able to form a partnership where students would leave school either in a work-based learning situation, or some of them had graduated and were looking for an opportunity or something to get into. And so we ended up putting about 45 to 50 kids through that internship program when I decided to go do it full time.
Wow.
In other counties and other spaces. So here we are, 2024, with 7 counties with Navigate internship program within the school system. We also are in Charlotte in 4 different counties, and then I'm looking to get into Chicago within the next 4 to 6 months. So it's been quite a bit of a journey, and it's just really great to be able to connect the hospitality industry and students together and support educators. My parents are educators. I was an educator. Educators are number one to me in supporting them in the classroom, making sure our classrooms are up to date and that the industry knows how to support the classrooms.
Yes.
There's a lot of liaison training that has to happen there, and Navigate sits right in the middle to help the corporate side understand what the needs are in the public side and in the community, and have the community ready to meet standards of corporate food service in the restaurant industry, and really just rebuilding that next generation. With the help of the OGs in the industry that are there, that are doing it all and know how it needs to look. And you have beautiful, intelligent students and passionate educators that are there to take that mentorship. But there's always just a divide. There's worlds are so different. You need a liaison piece, and that's what I've been able to put together over the last 10 years with the help of my team, which has been very important. Adeola Succumbi and Willie Buckley been for the last Willie the last 10 years. Adeola and I met maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've been doing nothing but great work amongst the community. So it's been a really great run. So,
Well, thanks, Chef. I tell you, I personally, and I'm sure you all feel the same, there's nothing better than hospitality and tourism
nothing.
Oh.
for a career or for, mentoring
Yeah.
or for teaching. It's just the greatest field in the world, and it has endless possibilities.
Yeah.
That's right.
Most
And I
definitely.
tell everybody, if you're not having fun doing this, and you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
That's right.
100%. I mean, I truly believe like hospitality is the fabric of who we are. Even in my background, coming from 2 parents that are immigrants, and hosting people and coming in and enjoying things around the family dinner table, it's like that is the way of life. And so to be able to pursue a career in hospitality, it's just joyous and it feels so natural
Yeah.
because that's exactly what you do day in and day out. And I think one thing that people sometimes I think lose sight of is that hospitality is the business of making business for other people happen. Right? When you think about closing deals, you do it over dinner. You could do it at a golf club. You could, fly to another city to meet with a potential partner. That's all hospitality with air, food, and travel.
True.
And so it's like we're the business that holds everybody else together. And I think we saw that in 2020, but more so in order to continue to push forward, we have to keep hospitality at the forefront.
Oh, very true. So while you're talking, tell us a bit about yourself and how you got here doing this.
Yeah. Well, first I was guided by passion and curiosity. Started out on the restaurant side of things. Worked in different restaurants full time while I was going to school at Georgia State University. That was just very exciting, and I found that I wanted to, seek the arena of sports and entertainment. And so, funny enough, my DeKalb story is that my first apartment was in DeKalb County, and that was the apartment that I got when I got my first real big girl job working at the Georgia World Congress Center Authority. And that opened my eyes in terms of how sports and events collide, how hospitality comes together, the business behind it, especially when we're talking about tourism. It's a really big factor of how people travel all across to enjoy a football game or a convention. And so I did that for 10 years, and I had the opportunity to work multiple festivals. Even in between that, I got to work a stint at the Olympics, the London 2012 Olympics. So that was a great opportunity. And I took all those different experiences and found myself again in 2020 looking and searching, actually a little bit before that, trying to find more, like how do I continue to build on my skills? And I found that, kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier, that while you have these aspects of hospitality and welcoming people, there's a big piece from a legal standpoint that comes into play when you're negotiating these big deals. And so I decided to go back to school and get my degree, or my law degree. And I found that the way the laws are put in place to, whether to facilitate economic development, whether it's to make sure that, people that are coming and going from your events are safe. And then also as a business owner, how do you protect your assets? How do you protect your trademark? And I found that, okay, well, if I do this, I can be even more of an asset to this industry and see it grow. So during the pandemic, I put my head down in the books when we couldn't do events. And that's actually what brought me to Chef Simone. One of the things that always stuck with me is that within the first year, 60% of restaurants fail. And then on top of that, when you talk about nonprofits, 30% don't make it past the first 5 years. And so when you're talking about hospitality, you're talking about nonprofits, those are sobering statistics. But coming in, I saw it as, well, I can help change that narrative. Let me bring my expertise when it comes to the legal side of things and the business acumen and make sure that this hospitality business, this nonprofit is successful. And so that's actually how we joined forces, is that I had a love of hospitality, but then I also wanted to bring additional support and resources to make sure that this program thrives in the way it needs to be.
Well, Chef, it sounds like you both are in the teaching realm.
Yes. Always forever be an educator.
Yeah.
Always and forever. Yes.
So what's going on? What's the big new thing you want to talk about?
The big new thing is the success rates. It's the success that we're having. How many students are receiving an opportunity right now that they would not have had if we were not doing the work. The big thing are our partners, the people that have given us endless hours and spent time away from their families and been a part what we have going on. Several chefs, several CBOs that are involved, and we're just so thankful for the community rallying around this initiative to do a better job at mentoring. We're chefs and people of hospitality, or it's a natural space to care for and nurture people, but we need to learn how to do that intentionally
Right.
with our young people. And really paying attention to how we do that has been exceptional journey for me. The feedback and the camaraderie, and just the overall need of knowing that we need to do a good job of rebuilding some of the great people that we have in hospitality. And so while everybody is here to smell the roses, we're going to do that and continue to do that forever, and making sure that we have a healthy ecosystem here, especially in Atlanta, especially in DeKalb County. We have this. The DeKalb County has the most culinary arts programs in a public school setting than any other county.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like some of our counties have maybe 3 or 4 programs. DeKalb has like 10 to between 10 and 13. I think there's another one that just opened either last school year, school year before. At Stevenson, some programs are being revitalized because the need is there. The demand is there for these culinary arts and hospitality classes. And, we're really doing the part of going in and saying, hey, how do we make sure that these teachers are giving the students the best information, the most update information. These students are motivated. They understand what the opportunities are when they come out of high school. And so we've worked a lot with Dr. Gunter, Dorian Gunter, who's over the CTE department, and in Keo Gaydon, tirelessly to make sure that education is there for everyone involved. So it's been an awesome journey for us.
Well, it's very important because after COVID, so many people from COVID, so many people were let go because you didn't need them, you couldn't use them, and then after we gradually started opening back up, but I don't think we've ever really gotten to the point of employing the amount of people that we need.
Right.
Restaurants, hotels, front desk, back of the house. I mean, it's crucial because we're not able to provide the service yet. Or they're not able to stay open and make the kind of money they need to stay open because they don't have the people to deliver the service to make the money. So you're really, it is a circle.
It's this.
Yeah.
It's this. But I think that we're starting to pay more attention to that, and knowing that we have to open up these opportunities, because the biggest feat that we have is really not finding the people. It's educating the people on the opportunity that they need to find. You see what I'm saying? It's like we have hundreds. I know I meet with hundreds and hundreds of young people that are excited and ready. Where do they go? And how do we do that intentionally? How do we make these relationships something that's going to be fruitful for everyone involved? And it's a re-education of what hospitality has to offer.
Right.
The students, the teachers are trying to explain, but we have to do more of the field trips. You have to open your door and do a lot of educational work for these students to understand what's happening, what is the difference between a catering manager and somebody that's an executive chef, or an event planner or a venue manager, or any of these positions. They have to see it. The attention spans are very short.
Right.
They have to go, they have to see it, the smell has to be tangible for them to say, oh, okay, I can do that.
Well, you have to point out that there is a career path here.
That's right.
Because a lot of times, and my kids are kind of the same way, they it's very low paying jobs, and it is. I mean, hospitality starts out lower than other fields, but if you work hard and you're good and you have the passion, you can progress quickly. You can get good jobs. You can start your own businesses. The other thing is we always think in the past you have to have bricks and mortar. But with the food trucks and catering, and now with the expansion and explosion of film.
Oh, yeah.
And they want food trucks constantly at their different locations for setup and all. So, I mean, you have so many opportunities. So it is low paying in the beginning, getting better.
I was about to say that narrative has changed drastically the last 2 or 3 years.
We need to get that out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
that's the thing.
It's the education piece again.
You got to make it that they understand that you can do this for a long-term career.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's two things that you said that resonate with me in terms of the film piece of it, because I think there's opportunities on both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Taking advantage of a viral moment. I don't know if you heard about the TikToker Keith Lee, like what he does.
Is that the one that was complaining about all the food?
Yeah, and then and reason why I say in front of the camera and behind the camera, there's a whole ecosystem of individuals that are doing things on TikTok, whether it's recipes, whether it's creating their own food shows, becoming
Yep.
their own food critics, or giving their own opinions about what their experience is, and it's very lucrative. And then even on behind the scenes as well, to where they're learning what it means to again create podcasts and create all these different things when it comes to it's almost like you can create your own food network. But even on that other side too, of having that restaurant that's going to be reviewed or having that food truck that's going to be reviewed, there's an opportunity there for people to see that as a business owner, you can thrive within the hospitality field as well.
Right.
Because I think sometimes we do just see, a lot of times the front of that, like what you see is front of house, which at the very beginning at an entry level point isn't high paying, but you have to understand it's a business behind it. How much is the owner making?
Right.
Like how much is the executive chef making? How much is the accountant for that restaurant making?
Right.
There's so many ways to be involved in that hospitality field, but bringing up film and bringing up the business aspect of it is so key for people to understand that you can thrive in this industry.
So much opportunity. So
Talking about film, Chef, can you get us Alton Brown on the show?
I work on that for a
know,
for a nominal fee.
Some people now.
Well, I understand he's got his show in Cobb, but he's from DeKalb County.
Mm-hmm.
I thought,
we
wow.
have to get in contact with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's that 6
Yeah.
degrees of separation, because I remember Alton Brown came and spoke at Georgia State when I was an undergrad years ago, and it was
I kind of remember that.
yeah, it was riveting and it was great, and
Yeah.
like he's so proud to be from Atlanta, and so we'll just put it on the atmosphere that
Talked to Dr. Cannon since she was
Shout out to Dr. Cannon. She's one of the best to do it.
Yeah.
She's an amazing person. Her energy and the way that she is just dedicated to education, and her support is unmatched.
Mhm.
She is a stand up woman. I love Dr. Cannon. I love her, and she's been so instrumental with Adeola in her space. And you talk about a leader and the type of leader that Atlanta had the pleasure to have for all these years, and will continue to have with her. So
We're going to miss her being director, but she's going to stay on as
Instrumental.
yes,
professor and all, so that's great.
yes.
She really embodies. She really embodies what hospitality is, because like to this day, my mom still talks about, oh, I remember the nice lady that had the pineapple in her hand when I was going for like freshman orientation. So she remembers that, and there's so many examples of how she embodies hospitality, and even the opportunities that I've had in the workspace, the scholarships, the study abroad opportunities. I credit her to a lot of the encouragement and just providing that space for us to grow. So yeah.
Definitely. You know, Dr. Kim, Suno Kim,
Yeah.
we're going to do a culinary coffee tourism show
Oh.
Okay.
and like take the coffee from where the bean is grown to now, and how does it affect tourism and the coffee shops, and I think that'd be pretty
Interesting.
cool.
Gotta be involved with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Gotta be
love to have that conversation as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's a great education piece.
It is.
Yeah. for
And
everybody.
then Dr. Kyle
Yeah.
Height is part of, we have actually a culinary show devoted to trying to pick up the Michelins and the Bib Gourmands,
Mhm.
Okay.
the honorable mentions in DeKalb,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and do a show based on that.
And I know I know you know some Michelin
Yes.
chefs. You want to talk
Yes.
about the Doms and
Yeah,
work
well,
with?
I'm part of La Dames Escoffier, and which is a women's organization that support women that are going into education, either culinary or hospitality. So, no, Hope Webb just was a Bib Gourmand
Yeah, she
for
got
Strelita,
Mhm.
and Deborah Von Treese, who's a huge supporter in
Play
just
that
a
video. That's her right there.
yes, it's her right there,
Oh,
and
nice.
Mhm.
she's just instrumental in just guiding next
Mhm.
generation of women in entrepreneurship and
Yeah.
in hospitality. So she's been awesome, and she's on a Michelin guide with Twisted Soul Cookhouse.
Yep.
Executive chef Rob over there.
Yeah, and then
So where is she based?
Atlanta.
She's here.
Yeah.
Deborah Von Trace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she's
her
here.
her
She-
restaurant's right next to on the west side of Atlanta, so Upper West Side.
Off of like
Howell Mill. Yeah.
back that way.
Yeah.
But she's there, and she's also got La Pandera.
Yeah, La Panara,
La Panera,
which is south of the city, like Cascade area as well. And then she just opened up, or at least she's the executive chef in residence at the Centurion Lounge in the airport.
in the
So
airports.
she's definitely a very fascinating.
Oh, the American Express line.
Yeah, Centurion Lounge.
I didn't know it opened up in Atlanta. I
Oh,
wanted to see one of
World's
those.
largest. And she's the executive chef, so she
her
is
menu.
we would talk about a trailblazer.
Yeah.
She's somebody that is we're happy to have her to be in Atlanta.
So she's kind of like the new version of Reginald G. Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. With Disney.
Yes.
Washington.
Exactly.
Yes. So
exactly.
yes, all of that.
She's already established, so
Oh,
she's getting. So
Mhm.
it's almost like she's the new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And she's been a major supporter of Navigate. Anytime we ask her to come in and talk to the students,
or host the student.
host the students,
Yep.
right? They've eaten very well, but like giving them the training, giving them the mentorship, and especially as a woman working in this industry, I think that's something from an educational piece as well that's very important and that's very dear to my heart. Especially, coming to your parents and saying you want to work in this industry, and the things that you hear about, the environment. You talk about the pay, but the environment is something that a lot of times parents, at one point in time, justifiably so, would hesitate, especially for young women in the
Oh,
kitchen.
yeah, big time.
And I think one of the things that we're so proud to say is that, being partnered with a group like Compass Group, they ensure that there's this level of consistency, that there's this level of professionalism. At the end of the day, they service some of the largest kitchens. They service some of the most high profile company headquarters. And so they make it their duty to create an environment that's conducive for young people and women and people from all types of diverse backgrounds. And I think it's something important to really bear in mind too. You got to think this Navigate program, it's so innovative, right? You have high school students, and like right off the bat, when you're talking about food service outside of quick service, like, which Wendy's was my first job, so no shade to them at all.
Whopper flopper.
Okay. Oh, I like that. Whopper flopper. And so it's like when you're thinking about these high volume, real equipment kitchens, everyone, the first thing is
It's
what?
anxiety. Yeah.
Under 18? No, like we're not doing it. And it took years and years to, one, educate them to say, hey, this is the future. If you don't grab onto training them now, you're going to have a really hard time engaging them after they're past a certain age. And so the fact that we can have high school students perform at such a level where they're side by side with, industry chefs, not only in their training, but in their actual, when they do end up being to work for Compass Group. So that speaks to the environment that they create, but then it also speaks to the level of support and partnership and bridging the gap that Navigate does to prepare them for it. And so I think that's one of the things that's really, really innovative that doesn't get talked about enough is the level of professionalism that these students come out with, not only just from the kitchen skills, but the soft skills as well, employability, like the kids that come out of, and the participants, because they're not all high schoolers, right? The participants that come out of this program, they're the cream of the crop. And it's almost like a bidding war, like, hey, can like when these industry chefs come in, it's like, can we keep them? It's like, nope, we have Compass as our exclusive partner, but that just speaks to how well we equip them to come into the industry. And it's like I said, you have the best of both worlds with the technical training coming from an educator background, and then bringing in the, business expertise from a collegiate level as well. I mean, they are literally the future that is shifting not only the narrative, but shifting and upping the ante in terms of just competitiveness.
Yeah.
A lot of times you think about, the New Yorks and the LAs,
Mhm.
but Atlanta has, as Andre 3000 says, the South has something to say when it comes to hospitality, most
Mhm.
definitely. And so this program just does
Now,
just
is
that.
Compass based here?
Compass is in Charlotte, so they're
Okay,
based
Charlotte.
they're based in Charlotte, but we were able to connect with headquarters to get it started here because this is where I built the foundation for the program,
Hmm.
and so it was important for me to start where was home for me, and
Right.
then
Right.
continue to build. So we're very blessed to have a manager who's up in Charlotte, Kelly McCann. I gotta remember her last name. She's got married, but we have Chef Danae Lynn, who is here, who manages all of our school accounts. And then Andrea Byron, who's my sister-in-law, who was with United Way, but also is running the market engagement. And then also Lashina Simpson, Dr. Lashina Simpson, who I talked with. I taught with at Meadow Creek, and so we were able to do a lot. And it's been exceptional for me to watch the growth of the program and how it has morphed into such a fully it's been a 360 of success from the financial literacy pieces of it Adeola was talking about. It's like 60% soft skills, and the other technical skills are happening within the internship. So we spend 3 weeks really getting them ready um, to be teachable, to be able to be mentored. We're talking about communication, written communication, body language. What's eliminating certain groups from being in C-suite positions and salary positions? What can we do to do that education early, and then find an exceptional partner to continue that mentorship when we get done with our training? So it's really creating that flow and being with a company where I'd be, comfortable. I have a 17-year-old son, and he's in the program, so I created an environment that's going to be conducive of really enlightening and motivating these young people about the opportunities. And you have to have a great work site. We could do as much as we can in a controlled classroom environment, but when we send them into the industry, what are we doing to ensure that they're having a positive experience? That we're erasing any myths about the hospitality industry, and you do that in somewhere where there's a very high standard of quality and safety and sanitation. The Compass Group and Thompson Hospitality provide that for the students. So it's excellent to see them progress through that 12-week training and into full-time positions in the college. And we do a lot of summer exploration events. We do educator events. We just finished doing one for Women's History Month at Life University with another Dom, La Dom's Escoffier member, Dr. Denise Pritchett, who's over the nutrition department at Life, and brought over 92 young women from around the city to come and see what hospitality looks like for a woman who's an executive chef or an executive pastry chef or a author, a
Professor.
marketing director, a professor. And Debbie Cannon was there, and all these chefs that came in for La Dames that own restaurants and are doing great things. And it was like light bulbs for these young ladies, like going off like, oh man, I can do that, or you're actually leading that, you own that. This is what hospitality looks like. And so being able to have a platform to do that type of liaison work is that is bliss for me.
Yeah.
So when they get done
Yeah.
with your program, where do
Yeah.
they naturally transition to? Do they go to Georgia State or UGA or?
We'd love for them all at most of our we want our students to go to Georgia State and experience that quality of education. And we have two of our interns that did that exact
Path.
path, and are now full scholarships at Georgia State Hospitality. Evelyn Castro Lozano and Ashley Casasola graduated out of Meadow Creek High School, both out of the Navigate program, applied for La Dame's Escoffier scholarships, got full rides in on academic scholarship. Evelyn's on the Guazetta
Guazetta, yeah,
scholarship.
Emory, yeah.
It's a full ride for first generation. I think first generation, either high school graduates or first time college So it's been
Yeah.
the thought is yes, we're going to GSU.
Yeah.
They're doing it right.
One of the top hospitality programs in the nation. And then
Yes.
also what ends up happening as well is that not only can they continue to pursue their educational route, but then they can also step into the industry on a part-time basis or a full-time basis. One
Right.
of the amazing thing about Compass that people don't really realize, it is the largest food service provider in the world.
So I'm more used to like Aramark, so they're bigger than Aramark.
Arrow.
Right. I was going to say, I don't know if
we don't
we might
speak
have to
that
edit.
French.
And Canteen, they're bigger than all of them.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Canteen is actually part of Compass Group.
It's part
Oh,
of the
okay. So now I know more of that.
Yeah,
Just
they have
Canteen.
there's 29 companies underneath Compass Group.
Okay.
So Flick and Restaurant Associates, who runs the aquarium, Levy, who's running the sporting and entertainment
division.
and
Yeah.
Okay, so I probably have heard of them. I just
Yeah.
haven't heard of them.
Yes.
some other company.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they like to be brand agnostic at times,
Yeah.
and so sometimes it kind of gets in the way of having to educate people on how big of a force and how big of a presence they have. And so when you think about students that may leave Atlanta to go and work and to go pursue school somewhere else, the wonderful thing is that Compass most definitely has a venue or a site that they operate out of. Sometimes Compass is the service provider for the school that they're attending.
Wow.
And so
That's happened several times.
it's happened, a number of times. So it's like when you talk about mentorship, like where can you really say, that you can work for the same company, but being able to progress in your career in different locales all over. And so you asked earlier, what are the things that we're excited about? I'm most excited about the expansion. The fact that we already exist in Atlanta and Charlotte, and the conversations are getting really, really heavy about us expanding to a third city and replicating this because the need is there. But it takes great partners, and Compass has been an amazing one. But we also continually look to the business community to come forth and talk, whether it's donating their time, donating their venues, donating anything. It's like come and get involved, and I'll use my brain power to come up of how we can
Just raise your hand. We'll call on you.
because it's like it's the future, and it's like
Yeah.
if you make the investment early, just like with any startup, get in early, because by the time we expand, by the time we grow, the rewards are exponential. The return on investment already, just by having someone that's dedicated to that industry and have the training, I mean, that in and of itself pays for
That
itself.
wasn't happening.
Yeah, just to be interested in the industry, then get the training, and then be prepared and ready. I mean,
Yeah.
we already know the biggest expense to any business is the people.
It's all the time.
So when you have a trained workforce that's excited to be there
Yes.
early,
We're changing the narrative.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep doing the work, and we need
yeah,
the support. So
yeah.
yes.
So open call to the business community to
Yes.
partner with us.
Look at Chef Simone Byron.
Yes.
Reach out.
Something on here I find interesting. So tell us about the Publix nationwide Black History campaign.
Yes, absolutely. So we had the opportunity to apply. My son, Cameron Shaw Byron, was working with Chef Schuler at Farmed, doing an internship, and has been working with him since he was, I want to say 6 or 7 years old. So
We were lucky enough to have Chef Schuler on the show.
yeah, okay,
This year.
okay, very cool, very cool. So I met Chef Schuler when I was in Art Institute when I was 18 years old. So he's mentored several of our competition teams. He's been an advocate for education in secondary and in post-secondary. Continues to mentor and is building his brand in crazy ways. So we're just waiting to see what he's going to do. But has had the opportunity to. I've had the opportunity of having my son to work underneath him and learn everything from culinary, but just up to just being a good, stand-up guy,
Right.
in that space. And so he was invited to apply because Chef Schuler submitted his name as people that he's very proud of that he's mentored. And we had a conversation with the producers, and Cameron did a couple of interviews, and they picked him to be highlighted as one of Chef Schuler's mentors. And so he's out of school for a couple days. Did some filming. And really, the message is about following your dreams and following your passion. But what it does is a very positive representation of mentorship, and how we need more of it, and how it's done right. Really highlighting the work that we're doing, and Publix did an excellent job. Gnarly Bay production company did an awesome job of being very intentional about the visual, because this is truly what that looks like. This is really truly what
So is
mentorship
that him
looks
right
like.
here?
That's him. Yep. Yep. With the curlies. That's Chef Schuler. He does not have curlies. And so he's at Tucker High School in the culinary arts program with Chef McCarthy, and having a great experience over there. Actually, Dr. Parker, who's the principal, graduated with my brother from Tucker High School. But being able to represent DeKalb County on a national Publix campaign has been awesome. So,
You know, it'd be really cool if you to prove it is you and him come on and do a show about him.
oh, it'd be great. That'd be really. He's very socially capable. I'll tell you that. He would love to come and talk about his experience. Cameron's been in the hospitality industry since he was 4 years old. When
So you could tell that great story.
Oh yeah.
I mean-
He's literally been, I was, single mom. So anytime I had an event or had to get to school early or had a competition practice, he's there early, and he's there after school, and he's grown up in it. So he just won his first ACF. Shout out to Chef Nick Barrington with ACF. They did a student competition, and he took first place. And so he's following behind the footsteps. He's continuing to take his his mentee space very seriously, and I'm sure he'd be happy to talk about his experience and being a DeKalb baby.
Yeah. So when school's out,
Yes, let us know.
tying up his time, anytime he'd work with Monica, we'd love to get him on the show. And
Absolutely.
you all can talk about the whole thing. It's interesting when you say that, because I don't think there's been an interview. I haven't interviewed in forever because I've been here 13 years, but from the beginning of my time to 13, 15 years ago, I've always put in my interview that I was general manager at 5. I really wasn't, but mentally,
Yeah.
I thought, because we always went to this family-owned, friend of my dad had this motel, and I'd get up early in the morning and run down to the desk. And then I'd be doing maintenance on, I don't know how much time I was actually doing, but
Right.
You were in the space.
that's what
Yeah.
got me into this business.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you talked about him starting out at an
Oh
early
yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So
3,
we
4.
would-
And I've got pictures of him all the way
Yeah.
through. I've got him. I got a picture of him after school. He was so tired, and I was going to get groceries for lab the next day, and I put him in the grocery cart, and I kept forgetting all this stuff. And by the end of the time, he's got groceries piled up all around him.
Oh.
He's in there sleeping. I'm like, let me take a picture of a horrible parent. Like,
We got to have some of those pictures when we have him on the show.
oh, I've got them all.
He grew
I've got
up
them all.
into this field, and then
Yes.
the awards he's won, and
Yes.
and working with you, working with Chef Schuler.
Yes.
That would be a great story.
Oh, I've got it. We've got it all documented, videos and everything. So, yes, it'd be
When
great.
he has time after school, if you allow him, we'd love to have him on the show.
That'd be
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. Just let me know. I'll make sure he gets here. He would love to come and speak with you about his experience. He deserves a platform to do it.
Yeah.
Oh
Deserves it. Yeah.
sounds like a truly remarkable kid.
Thank
Yes.
you.
He's not a kid anymore.
No, he
He's
is. We
still-
keeping
he's still
that
a
kid as
kid.
long as the kid. He's 17. So
Yeah, he's so
we're not rushing this thing. You're not rushing it.
Understand that?
Yeah.
We're not rushing it.
I think just in general, the Navigate program has been life-changing. And I think one of the biggest things as an educator that was always sounding so cliche to me was that, the students pour into the educators just as much as they do, but it really is true, because I would say, going into this endeavor, I'd never had been in the nonprofit space at all. I had the business acumen, I was the corporate girly, when it comes down to understanding business and regiment and everything like that. And even what I thought nonprofits were, especially in the hospitality space, you always think of it like, oh, I'm just going to go donate my time at a soup kitchen, or, oh, I'm going to, give canned goods to this organization. That's what I think about hospitality and nonprofit. And one of the things that I want to leave with, or leave the audience with, is understanding how life-changing it is. I feel like I've grown as an entrepreneur working with the Navigate program. I feel like I've grown as a person. One of the things that is a testament to Chef Simone and her leadership is that she said, you're never too young to mentor. And like, also what my idea of what a mentor is, it had to be someone that had been in the industry for over 20 years. And like, when she told me that, and I remember exactly where I was standing in someone's kitchen, and she was saying, you're never too young to mentor. Take what you're doing now and give that back. And so I challenge everyone that can hear this, is that you're never too young to mentor. You're never not seasoned enough to mentor. You're never, you never, it's like you don't have enough money to mentor. It's not about that. It's about the heart and the spirit of partnership. And so those are my closing words. Navigate is life-changing. I'll just leave with that. Like, you're never too young to mentor. You can really impact someone's life. Even just being present and letting them see you in your space is something that is life-changing. So.
Well, Chef, how do they get to you if they're interested in this program?
Yes.
Want to know more, want to have you come and talk, whatever the concept is, how do they find you?
Best place is at Chef Simone Byron at on my Instagram platform, and then also at the Navigate Foundation platform as well. And then we invite you all to also visit us on LinkedIn. So follow both Adeola and I on LinkedIn. Send us a DM. That's basically the best thing. I think everybody in Atlanta probably has my cell phone number, so I'm literally a text or an email away from anyone. I want to invite the hospitality community to join us on this journey of building the next generation of workforce. It might be an ask of your time to teach a class or to do a demo, or we might need a spot to do a fundraiser, or to come in and host some students or do a field trip. Please just send me a DM and say, hey, Chef, we have a space. Let me know if you need anything. If we can make it work, we will. That means the world to us, that we continue to do what we can. And I want to thank our partners that have already been involved. Alicia Quigley, Ryan Witten, been deeply involved. Chef Eric Centeno. We're getting ready to do a program with the Latin American Association, which is very, very exciting. We are going to do a fundraising dinner on May 14th. Still working on a location. We'll have information about that on all of our social media platforms. Getting ready to graduate several students on May 15th. We have 92 between Georgia and North Carolina. And so I'm really, really excited about that. But we just want to thank you all so much for the work that you're doing, the communication to the community about great things that are happening. It feels good to sit here as an entrepreneur and have my partner here with me and talk about some positive things that are happening in our community for our students. The work that we're doing on behalf of the hospitality and culinary arts community here in Atlanta is very proud work, very rewarding work for us. And I'm just really happy to have this space to be able to bring these two wonderful communities together. So thank you for having us on, and we appreciate it.
So
Adeola, give them your Instagram.
Yeah. So I have a fun Instagram, Yola's Kitchen. So YOLAS Kitchen on Instagram. So I like to engage with people, talk about my travel journeys, talk about the food that I'm preparing, and then I'm also always talking about Navigate. So you can find a lot of interesting things on Yola's Kitchen as well. Definitely a lot of talk about Georgia State, because I'm always repping them as well. So
That too.
Well, Chef,
Yes.
and Adeola,
Yeah.
we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Love to have you and your son back.
Yes, it's happening.
And as you have new things coming on, just think about us to come back on the show.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Please join our next show.